What's up, everybody? I'm JC.
I'm Brittany.
And you're listening to
Just Breathing Home Edition.
Yes, you are. Did you look again? You looked again.
Oh boy.
Oh my goodness. It's been too long. That's the lesson that we are learning here. It's been too long since we've had a Just Breathing Home edition. Brittany doesn't remember what show she's on. I get it. It's difficult. It's a difficult thing when it's sitting right in front of you. It's difficult, especially because she's been sitting here for 5 minutes. It's difficult to turn your head. We all know this. I mean, everyone's like, you know,
I just
it shouldn't
like the
be
awkward
hard,
eye glance over, like the head tilt and eye glance.
We only have one camera, so like maybe they don't see your eyes moving as much.
That might be good.
Yeah, welcome everybody to another Just Breathing Home edition. We have a great conversation for you. I'm gonna find out what it's about because I don't remember. I know you had a topic
that's funny.
that you were like, "Ooh, next home edition, we're gonna talk about this," and I'm like, "Yeah." And then I don't know how many weeks have gone by since then. So,
yeah,
what's the topic?
The topic is about modesty, which might sound boring.
I remember you saying
when you initially say that word, but I don't think it is at all. And the reason why I thought it would be interesting for us to talk about it is because I have some younger friends that I have that, you know, I don't know. That's a topic that I think is worth talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And they, you know, it gets brought up sometimes when I'm with them. And so I was like, we should really just talk this out because I know I've gone through my own like journey with that. And I feel like I've thought through it, but I've never actually thought through it like fully and spoken it out loud, which is kind of funny that I actually never did that. So I thought it would be cool to do that here and to see your perspective as well. But yeah, so that's what I wanted to talk about.
So modesty. Now, specifically when you talk about modesty, are you talking about just the clothing choice? Are you talking about a lifestyle choice?
Well, I
think like people make different distinctions of what is modest.
Yeah, you could have a lot of different, modest could mean a lot of different things.
Yeah.
But I was just thinking of just clothing, just bodily modesty.
Adorn your body with.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, so it'll be an interesting conversation. I'd like you to kind of start that because I don't know. I don't even know where I'd begin my modesty journey. Like I decided to wear a shirt today on this podcast.
So true. Okay. So I can start off the conversation.
All right.
So good. I thought it'd be fun to just go through what I feel like my own thought process has been, because I think that it's probably pretty similar to what a lot of other young
people
women
and
women
age.
In general deal with. So as you grow up, when you are a teenager, well, when you're younger, you are seeing and thinking or maybe having these thoughts put in your head without even thinking of it. But once you become a teenager, you start to maybe realize it a little bit more. But the culture, everything that you see in movies and when you listen to music on the radio and magazines and books and everywhere you look, tells you that you are beautiful. Well, you should be beautiful and you should look a certain way. And the more you show off and the more things you have to show, the more valued you are. I'm not saying any of this is true, but this is what you're told. This is what you believe.
Seems to be what's getting put out there.
Yeah. If you can look, if your face can be beautiful and you have the right kind of makeup and the right kind of clothes, and if you have like, you know, good assets and you can show them off, and the more you can show off, like you get attention and people like you and they love you and you feel important. Okay. So none of that's really true.
Some of that's true.
Some of it's true, but it doesn't actually give you the value that you're looking for.
Right. The results you're looking for.
Or the results that you're looking for is what I'm saying. So I've always grown up in a home where modesty was valued.
Mm-hmm.
So that's important to say. But I still kind of wanted to not be modest because I was like, I want to like look really pretty. I want that attention. But so then I would have to go through it in my mind. So I'm going to kind of tell you like what's going on in my mind.
Okay.
Because I don't think girls actually do this very much. They just do what they want. And they are just either modest or unmodest.
There's not much of a process that they're going through.
They're not really thinking it through. At least I don't think so. But so I've thought it through and I'm like, okay, so let's be super honest here. Why would I want to wear something where, I'm not totally covered up? Okay. Right. Or I'm showing just too much. Well, it's because I want attention, right?
Yeah.
I want attention and I want, especially, I guess, I want my girlfriends, but also the opposite sex to notice me.
Mm-hmm.
And to think that I am cute and hot or whatever it is you want them to think. And you want them to, I don't know, praise you, give you like, want to be with you, want to talk with you. You just want that attention.
Right.
Okay. So now, when is it enough? Okay. So first of all, now just saying that I've now placed my value, I've actually limited it. I've said I'm only valuable if I look and am this pretty and then I get the attention that I want. Okay. Mm-hmm. And then how much further does that go? Right? Like I actually never went that far. So I don't know, but I can presume, that you're going to get a lot of attention and it's probably not going to be very positive, right? You're going to have a lot of guys who just want your body now. And they don't care about you at all. So you're going to put yourself in a lot of like dangerous situations that might make you feel good at first until it goes further and things happen that you wish didn't happen. And then I don't know. I guess I don't know what you would do then. Luckily, I never had to get to that point. But even now that I'm not like a teenager anymore, there's still that struggle where you're like, well, there's so many clothes that are so nice and they look good, but they're not modest and they're not glorifying to God. And even as like a married person now, I'm like, I could wear those things, but it would only be like at home, right? So I couldn't wear those things out. But why is that still there? And I think it comes down to that you forget where your value comes from. Like, do I forever want to live my life on just saying that I'm only as important as I look, right? Like that would be really sad because then you're always striving to maintain this impossible level of beauty,
right?
That you see portrayed around you. Mm-hmm. And you will just continue to feel bad about yourself when you can't attain that, or when you start to lose that. Maybe you are like a really beautiful person, but then you're going to get old eventually. And then you're going to just feel bad about yourself. But yeah, I just think it's an interesting thing. Oh yeah. And I guess the other thing I wanted to say is, if you don't realize that your value comes from who God says you are, then you're going to forever be trying to attain this kind of value for yourself from like other people. Mm-hmm. And not just talking about modesty. Like you could try to do that a lot of different ways, is try to gain that value. But if just initially you're thinking you can attain that by dressing less, it's not gonna result in what you want it to result in the end.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think there are a lot of things there. I think there's a lot of, I think we should take it step by step.
Yeah.
In terms of, and just kind of break it up into different parts, because there's a lot of good stuff there. And then there's a lot of stuff that probably needs more explaining.
Oh yeah.
Or just to be talked through in order to kind of get to, I guess, a deeper understanding of why.
Right.
Because a lot of stuff, it kind of makes sense on the surface, but then there are arguments that I hear that, a lot of arguments that I hear are very dismissal of things like modesty.
Right.
And I don't like dismissal arguments, because there's no nuance in there. There's no an argument requires a counter argument in order for it to be validated or invalidated.
Right.
And that's in everything. Right now, not to bring up a sore subject, but Texas just passed a law, the heartbeat law, basically saying like at heartbeat, when we can detect a heartbeat in an unborn child, you can't abort it then.
Yeah. That's pretty awesome that they've actually.
Yeah.
I mean, that's my opinion. Sorry.
That's your opinion.
That's my opinion.
That's your opinion. A lot of people are outraged by this right now because they're like, how do you know you were pregnant at 6 weeks? Maybe when you had sex without protection.
Yeah.
That could be a sign that you are pregnant.
Right.
That's how it works, kids. But I mean, there's a lot of other factors. Everybody's going to go back to a lot of dismissal arguments, as in it's a woman's right to choose. It's a woman's body. What about rape and incest? Those are the three big ones that I hear thrown out a lot on a lot of podcasts. I listen to a lot of different people. A lot of people are upset by this. A lot of people are like, what the heck? You know, what are they doing? This is crazy. This is unconstitutional. And it might be. It might be unconstitutional.
I don't see how it would be unconstitutional.
Well, because I don't know. I
don't see how that would be unconstitutional, because you're literally saying that when there's another like human heartbeat, we shouldn't kill them.
Right. But this is the but I don't want to get too deep on this subject because I want us to stay on modesty. But what I'll say on that is most people that I've heard kind of steel man the argument for what pro-lifers believe, people that are against abortion, kind of make that case. They know that scientifically pro-lifers kind of have the case for that's a life.
Yeah.
Because scientifically we know that it will develop into a human.
Yeah.
And if
it has a heartbeat.
And even before 6 weeks, it's already on the process to developing to be a human. Also, we know the trajectory of to whether it's going to be a viable human by 6 weeks. So that's not really the argument. The argument is more of a philosophical argument of whether a person whose body it is that is carrying this human life has the right to choose whether to kill it. And maybe that's a strong word. That's what's happening. What I'm saying is...
when do we ever have that choice any other time?
I know.
My husband's inconvenient.
Right. And I've heard all the arguments.
My supervisor's inconvenient.
Right.
Sorry. I think
it's a very silly argument, and we can get into that another time. Someone wants to come on the podcast that's listening to this, and you're going to leave a nasty comment because you hear us talking about our pro-life stance. Come on the podcast, debate me. It'd be fun. It would be fun. You won't, but there's that. The offer's made. But going back to the modesty thing, I don't like a lot of the dismissal arguments that are used when it comes to some of the things surrounding modesty.
Yeah.
So, like the ability to have yourself be a sexualized person. That's that person's right. That's that person's prerogative. They are free to do that. And all of that is correct. But we're not making the argument of whether your body is your own. We're not making the argument of whether, you can do these things. Is it good for you?
Right. That's really what
and a lot
of
people will say, well, yeah, it gets me attention. It gets me jobs. It gets me, Instagram following. It gets me whatever. You can go down the list of the things that it does bring to your life. Now, what are you giving up?
Yeah.
What are you sacrificing for these gains?
Yeah.
There's always a sacrifice
Right.
in everything that we do in life, whether it's starting a podcast, whether it's doing music, whether it's raising children, whether it's getting married.
Right.
You're sacrificing something
and
for all of those things.
Yeah.
Good.
And so stay where you are there, because I want to go back there, but I'm going to pick it apart a little bit more because I didn't think about this. But so you just said like it does gain you things, and it does. And I want to talk about that real quick, because I think a lot of times we forget about the other person. Like, so you're gaining from another person, right?
Yeah.
So let's say you're dressing immodestly and you're gaining attention.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about that for a second. Like, what kind of attention are you gaining? So like girls, I guess if you're attaining attention from girls, it's because they're like, wow, that girl looks really good, or whatever it is. They're like, wow, she's showing a lot. And then they're jealous of you, maybe.
Right.
Or they're angry, or they're like stuck up now and they don't want to be your friend or whatever. I don't know.
Right.
So something like that would probably result.
Still attention. Yeah.
It's still attention. So then you get attention from males now. Especially, you're probably looking for people your age, attractive people your age.
Right.
Well, you're gonna get that attention probably, but you'll also get it from old guys.
Right.
And you'll also get it from young guys or little kids who don't know what to think of it yet. Okay, so let's talk about that for a second. So first, you're getting attention from older men who probably already are married, and maybe they don't want to look at you and they don't want to see what you have to show because they're trying to stay pure for their wives. Or maybe they don't care and they're thinking perverse things about you, these old men. Okay, so that's one. And then the younger men, right, are probably also looking at you and thinking thoughts about you that are not to cherish you and to love you and to do what's best for you. So that's also not good. And it's not good for them either. And then for these young boys who are looking at you, they don't know what to think yet of like, why is like all this showing, and I might feel something, and am I supposed to, like, what's going on here? Okay. So yes, you're getting attention, but it's not good. Like, none of those things I said was good for those other people who are giving you attention.
Right.
And that attention that you're getting is attention. And so maybe that feels good for you, but that's not, I don't know, what's the right word? That's not wholesome attention towards you. That's not like good intentioned towards you.
Right.
You know?
Right.
I feel like that's just worth saying, because I think we forget sometimes that like what's happening over there that's giving you that attention is not positive.
Right.
Like it's not like, wow, look, that person just accomplished something great. Let's go praise them because they just did this awesome feat.
Right. It's very surface level in the type of praise that we're giving to this person. Yeah. They're not really gaining too much other than our attention.
Yeah.
They're not gaining our praise.
No, not necessarily.
Like, some people might be saying like, oh, you look great today.
Right.
Like I see this all the time on like, on Instagram. Like a girl will post like a picture and like be an attractive woman, and like, I shouldn't say girl, an attractive woman will post a picture.
Yeah.
And then you'll see like guys be like, oh, you're looking so good.
Yeah.
They're not saying that because they're like, man, you did your makeup well good today.
Yeah.
Like they're not saying it because of that.
Right.
They're saying it in the hopes that that person will see their comment and be like, oh, this person looks interesting. I'll go to their profile and then maybe we'll message. And that's the only reason they're doing it. Yeah. It's real. Like it gives me the heebie-jeebies, especially like, yeah, depending on who's the audience and all that stuff, you know, it gets weird.
Yeah.
It gets weird very fast.
Yeah.
And, so
and sorry to interrupt, just one other thing, because you mentioned it, like maybe dressing like that does get you a job or something like that, right? Which is great. That's great that you got a job. But like, how far are you willing to take that to continue to get more? Like, right? So you just have to know, like, yeah, do you want people to hire you because of what's down your shirt? Or like, do you want people to hire you because you're a good candidate and you beat the others?
Right.
You know?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, it goes back to what are you sacrificing? Like we were talking about, like what are you giving up? Because it is powerful. Your body, like the female body is powerful. There's a reason why it's not just because they're looking to hire certain folk that look a certain way on the news that the type of people that are the newscasters who are beautiful women are in those roles. Like, because a lot of them are actually very like powerful, figures outside of their bodies.
Right.
But like they used what they had at their disposal. They had a pretty face, they had a nice body, and they were like, I want this job.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm going to get it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to, show whatever needs to be shown and strut however I need to strut to get that job.
Yeah.
So there's an argument to be made, like, use what you got. For men, it's their personalities, it's their humor, it's their wit, it's their, not as much their bodies. I was going to say their bodies. That's not getting you the job. You got to be a beautiful man to get a job based on that. But yeah, that's an asset that women have at their disposal. And like, I am okay with that being used. Because a lot of the times, if we're really to get down to it, they were kind of exuding confidence in their demeanor, in the way that they were presenting themselves and their bodies that was attractive.
Right.
And may have helped them get their jobs.
Right.
So like, I'm fine with that.
And can I just interrupt you for a second?
Go ahead.
There is also like, when I say modesty, I'm not saying that you should dress homely.
Right. Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying
break out the burqas.
I'm not saying that you need to look like an Amish person.
Yeah. You need to dress like Luke Skywalker. Like, you need to get like the full canvas, like, what do you call those things? Ponchos? Just full Mexican ponchos. Let's go.
I'm just saying that you can make there's a deliberate choice that you make.
Yeah.
Like, you can wear a skirt or you can wear skirt underwear. I don't know, like, you can wear like something really, really short. Yeah. And it's just too short. Or you can wear a regular skirt that still looks very nice. Yeah. And that whatever flatters you, like. Yeah, I'm just saying. When I say modest, I don't mean like look bad.
Yeah.
Because I think that you can look really good. Yeah. And still be modest.
No, I do too. So, yeah, I'm basically just highlighting the sacrificial part, just because I think throughout everything else that we talk about, we have to kind of, that is for me at least, what I'm seeing through what you've said and what I'm thinking about, that's kind of the root. It's like there's always a sacrifice that has to be made for you to gain attention, for you to gain status, for you to gain whatever it is you're trying to obtain through the use of immodesty.
Yeah.
You're always, everything has an equal and opposite reaction.
Right.
That's true to so many things in life. You lie, there are repercussions. You steal, there are repercussions. You murder, there are repercussions. You are immodest, there are going to be repercussions.
Right.
And I wish it was a perfect world that, you could just be free with your body and there wouldn't be ripple effects of that. But like, we don't live in that world. There are repercussions to everything.
Right. So I mean, to go with that, I mean, to answer that question a little bit, probably not fully, but I'm just gonna pull an example real quick. So someone that I know recently sent an email out, and I'll make the connection in a minute. Okay. They said they shared this verse. Sorry, I can't speak. They shared this verse from Isaiah, and it was talking about like do not fear, do not be afraid, for I am with you. So this is God talking, and like, do not look anxiously about like around you, for I am with you. And I can't remember the last part, but it has to do with like, he's with you. So we don't have to fear.
Yeah.
And then this is what she said. And it really just, I was like, wow, this is so good. And yeah, we need to live in this every day. But she was saying every time that we feel anxious or we fear, it's usually because we're putting ourselves or someone or something else in God's place. So we are basically saying like, I'm in charge of this. I need to get it done. And then you're afraid or you're anxious, or you're saying my bank account like is not enough. And you put your money in the place of God, or you put a job in the place of God, or you put the president in the place of God. And you're like, oh my goodness, he's, messing this whole thing up. And you're like, freaking out. You're afraid. But like when we remember that God is the one that's in control and that he is with us, we don't have to be afraid or anxious about anything.
Right.
It doesn't mean that our life is going to be perfect, right? But we know
we don't have to be anxious.
We don't have to be anxious. We don't have to be afraid. Okay, so to bring that all back down to modesty, it's kind of like that in when we know who we are, we don't have to do this race of trying to attain this attention that we want to feel good about ourselves by dressing immodestly.
Yeah.
So I feel like I'm not explaining that well, but when we know that our value comes from who God says we are, and that we're loved regardless of how our face looks and how our body looks and how we dress, that we are loved unconditionally.
Yeah.
We can go into the world from a place of joy and self-respect and thanksgiving, and being able to like even love other people better and give other people attention, because we're not afraid that we don't have it. We're not trying to attain it. We're not shuffling and fearful to think that we are less than all these other people, because we know how valuable we are and we're able to love better. And then modesty it's not even that big of a thing. You're not trying to you don't need that attention. You already know who you are. Yeah. So I don't know. I think of it like that. That's what you're sacrificing.
Right.
You're now putting your value in the hands of your bystanders.
Right.
How do you say that?
Yeah.
Yeah. But
people around you.
The people around you.
Yeah.
And you've just given them power now. Right. You've just given everyone around you power
that you had for yourself. We like to talk about like self-esteem, and like the ultimate self-esteem is a thing that we've talked about and that you're just talking about. You were created in the image of the divine. You were created in a holy image, in an image of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, of this Trinity, divinity, amazingness.
Yeah.
And for you to just give that up on a whim,
right?
Like, I could use a couple likes on Instagram. I could, whatever it is that's sort of propelling you to dress immodestly and kind of show yourself off. Yeah, you've given up power.
Yeah.
Like a real power, like a real solid foundation for your life. That's why Christians talk about this so heavily, is because if you can learn it, then you don't fear not getting attention.
Right.
You don't fear. And
you're not crushed when you receive like poor, I can't think of words tonight. When you receive like criticism.
Right. Okay.
It doesn't devastate you.
Yeah. No, it's true. Like, and all of that stems from fear. You fear loss. You fear loneliness. You fear all of these things that propel you into this. But this is the sacrifice that leads to you losing your power that you have already.
Right.
And this understanding gives you power. Tapping into this understanding of who you were created in the image of,
right,
taps you into this power that isn't crazy. Like, it's not a crazy concept to think like all you have to do is just take a step back and like be like, okay, why am I here? Well, because a divine being desired for me to be here.
Yeah.
That's not a hard concept. It takes way more faith to believe that we came from nothing than to believe that a God being created everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so much less faith. So despite what everyone's religious beliefs are, if you can even just grasp that concept, which it's not hard.
Right.
It's not a hard concept for an atheist to grasp. You can start tapping into a power structure that's going to completely transform who you see in that mirror.
Right.
It's going to completely transform what you see when you look down at the scale. It's going to completely transform, what you do when you open the fridge.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's life changing, that understanding. So yeah, it's super instrumental to go through that and to process that and to really come to that understanding so that you can have that power and not give it up to others.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's good. That's really good. I think like another thing with the whole modesty, it's not really a debate. I don't actually hear a lot of people talking about it, which is great that we're talking about it. So, but one of the things is a lot of the word modesty has been sort of hijacked by a lot of like religious organizations, and it's not a religious concept. It's a very cultural concept.
Right.
There are a lot of cultures that were either more promiscuous and more open in their sexuality, and then there were some that were more closed.
Yeah.
A lot of colder ones, but like, you know what I mean? It was just the way that cultures worked. But it's kind of got this religious connotation that like, oh, you want to be modest because it's like a symbol of like your purity and like your religion.
Right. Right.
And like, you can look at that with like the hijab, like in Islam, they have to wear a hijab and because they have to show modesty. You're not allowed to see, I mean, depending on which part of the Middle East you're in, you can't see any part of the woman. Or maybe you can see a head. Maybe you can see some eyes. Maybe whatever it is.
Right.
I get where people's hesitation comes from when they're like, I don't want to do this for like religious reasons.
Right.
Like I want to do this because it's actually going to like affect my life in a positive way.
Yes.
Does that make sense? Like, what do you think about that? Like, you kind of came from a religious household. Is this something that you really developed because of your religion completely? Or is there a lot of more like social and psychological elements like mixed into that?
Well, I would say a couple things. First off, I agree with you that people think of modesty the way you were explaining. I also think, and I could be wrong with this, but it seems like when people say modesty, your first thought is like the Amish person, right? Like your first thought is like
I thought Mennonite, but Amish is like hardcore.
Your first thought is like, wait, I can't even look good. Like that's what people think when they think modest.
It's a much
they're like that person's wearing full tan from their neck to their toes. It's all plain. There's nothing pretty there. Okay, so just with that said, I think that's what people think of modesty. But I grew up in a home that valued modesty, but they never really explained why. They would just they almost did the opposite of like the, what was the word you were using? Discount. They would just kind of like be like, oh, like it's awful to not be modest, kind of like just throwing it off. Like you don't even talk about that. I don't think they realized they were doing that, but they did that. So I that was important to me just because it was important to my family. But as I got older, I wasn't being modest because of that anymore. It was because I knew Jesus and I knew that was important to him.
Maybe that's the initial way that sort of propelled you into this.
In that direction. Yeah.
Okay.
And
so
I knew
for you, it was religious.
Right. So I guess I should say, when I realized that I wanted to wear maybe more like promiscuous clothing, I never did, because I knew that I was just trying to gain attention.
Right. Okay. I want to make a clarification. When I say religious, I actually think it's a little deeper than that with your situation.
Mm-hmm.
I think for your situation, it was more relational.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It was relational.
So there's a major difference. There's a point with religious people when they actually tap into what the fundamental of the religion is talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And for Christians, it's when you tap into really what Jesus was trying to communicate when he was here on this earth,
mm-hmm.
and what it says in the Gospels and what it says in the New Testament, and which also opens your understanding to what the Old Testament is saying, where it becomes more than religion.
Oh yeah.
You tap into the relationship that's always been there, but you've withheld yourself from it,
mm-hmm.
Because of religion, because of legalism, because of whatever yourself,
right?
Whatever's holding you back. When you're able to cross over, and I think this is what you're talking about, you crossed over from like, I shouldn't,
mm-hmm.
to I won't because.
Right.
And there's a difference.
There is a big difference.
One is legalistic, and the other is like, there's a person that cares for me. And this is a huge reason why you see a lot of people in like, the strip club industry or the porn industry or prostitution or a lot of these very promiscuous, occupations don't usually have a strong background with like male figures, with father figures.
Mm-hmm. They've already been abused early on.
Exactly. So there's a lot of things going on that sort of leads to those lifestyles. And like in your case, like you had a good dad, and then also you had like an even better dad in Jesus that you were in relationship with, and that inspired you and gave you the power to not fear, if I don't wear those shorts, or if I don't wear that shirt, or if I don't put this makeup on, or I don't know what else girls do. I won't get whatever
right.
my body is telling me I need. Yeah. And that's another factor too, because there is like a natural factor that's going on that is propelling us to want to do all of these things.
Yeah.
The guys to work out, and not have so much acne on their face, girls to, look a certain way and learn how to do makeup right. And these are all factors that are natural,
right?
Because we're supposed to mate,
right?
We're supposed to find someone that we can have kids with.
Yeah.
So there's this very natural
and normal
element that is going on.
Right. Which isn't actually bad.
No,
that's not bad.
Propelling people to that way. But again, going back to values, I'm not even talking morals. I'm talking like what brings value,
right,
or devalues your life.
Right.
Does giving in to, well, it's natural. Does giving into that, well, no. It doesn't help you in life. It doesn't bring value to you. Because if we gave into every single inclination, if I gave into my anger, I would be a serial killer.
Right.
If I gave into my sexuality, I would be a rapist. If I gave into
everything.
You see what I'm saying? I'm gonna stop.
Yeah.
So people don't start clipping this. But like, if you just give into everything that's natural inside of you, it's not good.
Right.
It's not going to always benefit you.
Yeah, or others.
Exactly. And there's a whole other conversation that we could go on in terms of like it not bringing value to others, like guys, like sleeping with other girls and stuff, just sleeping around and stuff. There's so many differences between men and women in terms of the emotional connections and what it does psychologically when you encounter each other in a sexual way.
Yeah.
That guys do not have the same things going on in their brains.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't think I knew that.
Well, just emotional, like the connections, the things that are forming in those encounters are different between men and women. That's why men can be, and again, it goes to a very natural thing, but like men were supposed to just populate the earth. That was like their function when there was only 100 of us.
Right.
You know what I mean? When you're on an island and there's 40 of you, like there's going to be some intermarrying. There's going to be some.
I mean, I don't know if I fully agree with this statement, but.
No. What I'm saying is that is a natural thing.
Yes.
That's ingrained in every mammal.
Right.
And we have those inclinations, but we have a conscience.
Yeah.
We have what you might call a soul.
Mm-hmm.
Some people would call a soul that have a religious bent. We have these things to inform us that the natural isn't always valuable.
Yeah.
Like we're talking about. So there's those elements that are at play.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think it's necessary to say, yes, it is natural for you to want attention.
Mm-hmm.
It is natural and maybe valuable eventually to look a certain way or present yourself in a certain way to get a spouse.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
I mean,
I
would say you still need to be modest.
Yes, exactly. That's the line. That's the line, though. You can do these things without sacrificing yourself.
Yeah.
You can, if you're a beautiful woman, a guy's going to notice.
Yeah.
You don't need to sacrifice past certain lines that you can't pull back.
Right.
See, that's the thing. A lot of people that put out themselves on social media, like it really breaks my heart. Like not while I'm seeing those images because I'm like, oh, that's great. But like thinking about that, like that person can't get that picture back.
Yeah.
People have saved that picture. People have looked at it 100 times.
You can't undo it.
You can't get it back.
Yeah.
And we all, like I said, we all sacrifice in our lives. And there are many things that we can't get back. And that is a part of life. So I'm not criticizing.
Right.
I'm not,
it's not hopeless.
Exactly. I'm not saying like, oh, if you've done this, if you've gone down this path, I pray for you. Like, no. We've all done stupid things and it's affected our lives.
Right.
But you can make conscious decisions going forward to kind of remedy some of these things and to put up roadblocks to some of these things so that you're not continuing to make these decisions and continuing to go down these paths and continuing to hurt yourself.
Yeah.
For not a lot of gains.
Right.
And a lot of that we talk about on this podcast is improving your life.
Right.
So we wouldn't be talking about this because we want you to look a certain way.
No.
We're talking about this because we want to improve your life, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And like, I don't know, you tell me what you think. I think it'd be kind of interesting to just kind of go down like the path, like both ways, just kind of talk through like the path of just continuing down like an immodest path and then continuing down like being a modest path and kind of what's going on in your brain and like what might be happening.
Okay.
Could we just do that real quick?
Sure. You know where this path is headed.
Okay.
I'm following.
Okay. So I just, cause I just think I think it's good to think through these things, especially if you're a young person.
Of course.
And you haven't thought through these things before. I think it's important. But so if you're going to go down the path of immodesty, okay, I don't know what got you there, but it's probably a sadder story than a happier story. But like if you're in that place and then you end up receiving the attention that you want, like you're probably going to end up just continuing to be more and more going down that way. You're probably going to end up like sleeping around or being, a bunch of unfortunate things. And then those types of things, that when that happens, if you're sleeping around or you unfortunately get abused in some way, like that mindset that you had going into that is probably just going to get worse. Right. Because now you feel bad about the things that have happened to you poorly. You feel bad about the partners that have not stayed with you. And so now it's like a cycle that will probably continue to get worse.
Yeah.
And so now you're really looking for that one person who's going to really love you the way you want to be loved and the way you want to be valued. And once again, it's not hopeless. Like, you can still turn around, but now you've gone through hurt that might have been able to be avoided. Maybe not.
Yeah.
Maybe not. I don't know. I feel like no one ever says that when you're young. People are just like, if you're in a more religious, group of people are just like, oh, you shouldn't wear that, right. Or they're like, oh, why? Shame on you. Like, they don't ever kind of take it a little further. Like, I care about you.
Right.
And I care about other people too. And like this path will lead down to hurt.
Right.
And like not good things for you, Well,
and this, yeah. Just, I don't want to get us off this path that we're being led down, but like, this is one of the things that is very frustrating, and you've mentioned it a multiplicity of times on this podcast. Like, we need to do things that are good for us, and the things that are good for us are going to be good for other people too.
Mm-hmm.
And then going out into the world, like, a lot of women do not think about what this is doing to men.
Yeah.
They don't. Like, it's advantageous to them in some way, usually monetarily. So, and the men are applauding it. So that must mean it's good for them. But like, they don't think of like what we've talked about in the past too, of like testosterone levels are down like 50%.
Yeah. Can you explain that a little bit again? Because I feel like...
No, because I'm not a scientist.
Oh, okay.
But
explain why kind of that is.
So there's a lot of factors, and they are studying it. There, you can go and you can look up scientific papers. You can look up articles on the drop in testosterone levels, especially among young men in America, which is sad because these are the people that are supposed to be reproducing the next generation. Long story short, but like, I'll go into like a couple factors. There's diet. A lot of the food that we were eating are either infused with things that are harmful and are negatively affecting the testosterone levels in men and are boosting the estrogen levels in men, to like the extent that it's actually changing our like reproductive organs.
That's intense.
Yeah, and there's some scary podcasts out there, and there's some scary books out there on this stuff. Scientific papers and books on this stuff. Another factor is porn.
Yeah.
They say the typical age that a boy is exposed to porn is 8 years old.
Oh my goodness.
Now, I know this is completely just my story. Like, I was exposed to porn around that age, and I had zero clue. I had not gone through full puberty yet.
Yeah.
I had no idea what was going on.
Yeah.
But like, those images I can recall today.
Yeah.
So it's a very, and they have many books on this, how porn is literally rewiring people's brains the same way that television rewires your brains.
Yeah.
We know, we have plenty of scientific papers and journals on the way that TV is rewiring people's brains.
Right.
It's the same thing with porn, only it's actually much worse because it's such a more visceral experience.
It makes chemical things happen in your brain. Yeah.
Right. Way more than TV would. Typically, depending on what you're watching.
Yeah.
So porn is a big reason that the exposure at a young age, the that a lot of young men coming into puberty aren't able to have regular sexual experiences. That's like the PG way of that I can frame that.
Yeah.
They're not able to experience a normal pubescent life.
Wow.
If that makes sense. Or if that's clear enough, I should say. It does make sense. Yeah, so I mean there's a lot of other factors, but those are the major ones that are really affecting the testosterone levels in men.
Wow.
And it's scary.
Yeah.
It's very scary. And I'm not blaming women. I just want to put that out there. If people are listening and they're thinking, "Oh, and this is it. These are the arguments that I hate. Oh, you're blaming women, so it's our fault that you're looking at all of this stuff and it's affecting your life."
Yeah.
Nah, but it'd be a lot easier if it wasn't there.
It's pretty much 50-50, I think.
Right. And then if you want to go down that route and say, okay, well, what if all the women stopped? What, would that help? Probably not. And this is another factor because there are so many women that are trafficked that are in the porn industry.
Yeah.
There are so many women that are trafficked that are, Instagram models.
Mm-hmm.
So no, like there's so many other factors that have to be, so many battles that have to be fought outside of just this simple one. But man, would it help?
Yeah.
Would it help? Because what if like a guy's doing everything in his power to avoid certain places
and
then goes onto his news feed and his friend is dressed in a certain way that is just hard for him to not look away from.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like it would be so helpful if women cared and valued themselves enough to not put that on men.
And for men, like to care about their men and their boys and their older men, like to care enough about them to not want to make it harder for them.
Mm-hmm.
And
I know I hear the argument right now because it's the same argument with the abortion debate. But like, why do you care so much? Just stop looking.
Right.
I can't.
And the point is that you want them to look.
Exactly.
But just to go.
So it's a stupid argument.
Yeah.
It's a very just kind of not frivolous, but it's such a dismissive argument.
Right. And I just want to talk about something else too, because people could be thinking this maybe that like, why is it such a big deal for guys? Like, why is it a big deal for guys? And like, I don't know all the reasons why, but I can say like one reason, because it's the same for women who are reading like pornographic books.
Yeah.
They're not looking at it, but they're experiencing it as they read it.
Yeah. What do you think it is?
So I think it's that you're making it now harder for that man to be faithful to whoever he marries and to not have all these other, whether they're experiences or pornographic images or just images in general around him of women who are dressed scantily and for him to train himself to try to forget those things.
Yeah.
Especially when he's trying to be intimate with his wife.
Mm.
And I think, I know it's the same for women who have looked at pornography or perhaps are reading, those romance books that are very juicy.
Twilight.
I don't know. I haven't read Twilight. No, but I don't know if that one is. But I know there's many, many, many books out there that are like this.
Right.
But now you've already felt and experienced or have expectations of things that are not real.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're bringing that into this relationship. So now I'm talking from the girl's standpoint. And now you're going to put that on your husband.
Right.
Or your partner.
Right. Yeah.
And then they don't meet up to that. And you're like, well, I feel better when I read the book.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's awful. And maybe he's thinking the same thing. I feel better when I look at porn. Okay. So now you've just put a divide in your relationship that you've been seeking for so long to be so close with someone. And you've just put a a divide there that's going to take a lot of work to undo.
Yeah, no, that's definitely a factor.
I mean, I think there's a lot of others, but
that's definitely a factor.
I think that's one that's not really talked about very much.
Yeah. So you're saying that is, go back to what, like the point that you were making with that. Because I agree with that argument. What were you trying to say?
I was just saying that we often forget that our immodesty is feeding into like a devastation to our men, to our young boys, to our men, to our old men. Like, it's not helpful for them in a lot of different ways. And you might think that it's not that big of a deal because you're not actually like the porn person, you know?
Or you're just like, screw men. Like, they've done so many things to me.
Right.
You know, in the comments that they've made, or the oogling, you know, that they've done with their eyes, or, you know, keep going down the list. Like, yeah, I get it.
But I just think we used to be more of a modest culture, I think. But it's slowly gone downhill. And I think it's not just that, but it's a lot of things that continue to feed this narrative that it's okay and that it's okay for everyone. But it's not. Like, we see the things that are happening as a result of this. We see men's testosterone is down. We see that now little boys are now forever, their minds are changed from what they've seen. And maybe they look at it a lot now. Like, they're... little children's minds are not fully developed yet.
Right.
Like, sorry, this makes me so angry that we think that's okay. Like, that is not okay.
Yeah.
That is not okay that these little boys now have a completely warped view of what sex should be like. So now when they look at their mom, when they look at their sister, when they look at the girl at school, they have this awful idea of what sex is. And that's not cool with me. But yeah, so then it just feeds into that. And then our poor young men and our men who now they see this, they think it's okay. They think it's okay to look at porn. And then they have these addictions that will ruin their not ruin their relationships, but make their relationships difficult in the future. Yeah. And it adds to the perversion that's already there. Yeah, it's not okay. Not okay. Yeah, that's my little rant.
That's fine. That's fine. Yeah, I think that's a good place to kind of start wrapping it up. I guess just on a practical note, I don't know. I don't even think like we need to go down this road, because I was going to say, like, on a practical note, how do you be more modest? And I'm like, it's not a difficult thing to figure out. Like, there are areas on your body
that need covering,
that just help a guy out. And yeah, you could show off if you work out, if you're like, I got a good body though. Like, I get it. Not saying cover up and not show your form or anything like that. If you're healthy, show it off, baby. You know, if you're not healthy, get healthy.
Yeah.
You thought I was going to say show it off. No, get healthy, because I love you. But just, yeah, it's not hard.
It's not hard. And I actually think
it's not a hard concept.
I think there is something that could be said here.
Okay.
For people who do know their value and know the value of other people, don't shame them. Like, I hope no one was shamed,
right,
by me saying this. Like, when you see someone who is, you can tell that they're trying to get attention, right? Like, you should love on them because they need love.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. No, that's a fantastic point. And let's end it there, because like that is the goal, is like providing more value to everyone's lives.
Mm-hmm.
Like that should be what we should be doing on social media, not tearing people down, not feeding into like this is one last thing. And this goes out to all the women out there, because I see you in the comments. I see you in the comments on Instagram and Facebook and wherever else. A girl posts a picture and it's just a cry for help. It's just a cry for attention. And all the comments are like, looking good, girl. Oh my goodness, you're so beautiful. You know, and it's just feeding
the unhealthy mindset.
It's just feeding the unhealthy mindset. And maybe it's because those people are also posting those same pictures and want those same comments. And they're just like, if I comment on you, you'll comment on me. And then we feel good.
Right.
You know, but it's not helpful. It's not helpful. Be like, yo, you are so beautiful. Like, don't put it in the comments. Message that person, call that person, text that person, and just be like, yo, you don't need to post these pictures.
Right.
You are gorgeous.
Right.
Unless those people are doing it for like, to build a platform or something like that, that's different. But if you're just doing it for the attention factor, reach out to those people and say, yo, you don't need this.
Yeah.
You are gorgeous.
Right.
Exactly how you are, away from social media and the attention that you're trying to seek.
Right.
Like, I know you there.
Yeah.
And you're known there. You don't need to be known in this space where people don't care about you.
Mm-hmm.
I care about you out here.
Right. That's so valuable.
And that's all that matters. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Let's wrap it up here. Thanks, everybody, for listening to another episode of Just Breathing Home Edition. This is coming out on Monday. Right now, hopefully, when this comes out, I am sitting on the beach. We are on vacation all next week. We're taping this early. We're recording this early. Yeah, we still use cassettes. Yeah. I think we're gonna try and do a Just Breathing with Lauded Lungs at the beach. Maybe not, though.
Yeah.
Maybe not, because we need a break. So, maybe see you Friday. If not, love you all. Before you go, make sure that you hit the like button, the subscribe, and the notification bell. And we'll see you on the next episode. Goodbye.